Hello everyone, Adam here. And cut content in video games is extremely common. Not all ideas make it into the title, but sometimes there are assets that are left within the title that highlight the cut content. In Little Nightmares 2, this is no exception. You can find characters that were cut within the game still appearing within the title, but thanks to the Digital Deluxe Edition, which provides us insight into some of the cut content, we can see how they may have involved themselves within the game before they were ultimately removed. As always, remember to like, comment, subscribe, and if you want to go the extra mile, consider joining the channel. I shout out my super chat supporters every stream, and I stream every day, so remember to come by to the channel every single day for a brand new stream. First up, we have the Barber. Now in the concept art gallery, we can see that the Barber was intended to be a character that Mono would have fought inside a barber shop by himself, most likely when he was split from Six. Now we see that the character would have used giant scissors in order to chase Mono. I mean, maybe that's a reference to Clock Tower where they were trying to replicate a similar enemy. We do see creatures that borrow heavily from other characters within other video games, such as the mannequins that take reference from Konami's Silent Hill. But you can actually find this person's picture within the orphanage. When you first enter the orphanage, right before you go into the room to grab one of the objects to knock down a painting, you can find his photo on the left-hand wall taken down. My hypothesis is that maybe they repurposed this character and he was probably going to be one of the principals or teachers within the school along with the teacher, because it seems that there was going to be more than one creature within the school, but they most likely cut it in order to focus simply on the teacher for this section of the level. Another reason is the way he's dressed. If you look at the concept art in comparison to the photo, he's definitely dressed more preppy in the photo as compared to the concept art. So that also leans on to the fact that maybe he did get repurposed. Again, just a theory there. Little Nightmares has always focused on one creature for each section of the game. Whether it's the janitor, chefs, the teacher, the doctor, there was always one creature. So maybe they thought it got too cluttered and decided to just remove it altogether. Another creature that may have been part of the orphanage section was the cafeteria worker. Once again, looking at the concept art, you can see that there was supposed to be a cafeteria worker that was serving food to the bullies. You can still find this character. She's behind in the refrigerator section of the cafeteria, laying down in a pile of food, clearly dead. Now, there's a hypothesis going around that the bullies killed her, but I highly doubt that, considering that the bullies are extremely fragile. Yes, they can easily take down Six or take down Mono without a sledgehammer when they're not looking, but it is highly unlikely that someone this size wouldn't be able to take down those bullies. It also seems that the character was fully rendered as opposed to the Barber. I believe that the character was already made, but then they decided late on into the game's development to just simply cut her. That's why her body is still there, and they just put it there as some sort of creepy setting to allow the player to infer what could have happened. Infer that the bullies killed her, maybe she ate too much and died. I mean, the signal does distort people's most negative qualities. What if she was someone who's addicted to food? She is clearly overweight. She just seems to be keeled over in the freezer, so maybe she ate too much to the point that her heart just gave out. She wasn't consumed by the signals, seeing that her body is still there. So that's my hypothesis. They had the character there, but just like with the Barber, they felt like it was just too many characters in this section, took her out, but since they had the asset there, just put her there as someone you can find dead on the floor. Now, in one of my theories in my 10 interesting details about Little Nightmares, I inferred that the signal actually affects animals in different ways. My argument was that that giant moth that we find hidden in a back area that has a collectible may be the effect of the signal. It basically evolved into this giant form and may be a hybrid with a bird because it does chirp like a bird. Another theory I had, but I didn't include in that video, is that it made the rats extremely hostile. That's why they killed that child who was trying to hide from the patients in the hospital, but that could also mean that the rats were just hungry. I mean, rats are notorious for eating anything they can find, especially when they're hungry. But the reason I want to supplement this theory is because in the concept art, you can actually find a picture of the moose. Now, the moose picture and the moose's head can be found in the hunter's shack. He clearly shot it and made a trophy out of it. However, in the concept art, it clearly shows that Mono and Six would have encountered this moose. You can see them right below there, that they're holding hands, so it's likely that they would have encountered this creature and that the animals were going to play a much more significant role with within the Little Nightmares universe, specifically this game. We also see that there's the Hunter's Shed, which had a very different design, but they still kept most of the design there. You can also tell from the image that the moose doesn't look normal, like it seems to be leaking something. Maybe it's starting to merge with another creature within the swamp. Again, just theories, but it does look like there is going to be something here. Now, honestly, I don't even know about this guy. I mean, yes, he clearly is one of the people that have been infected by the signal, and his head has become literal black cables. But as far as I can tell throughout the game, there's nothing that looks this pristine throughout the title. Every area is almost destroyed or dilapidated, but this kitchen just looks too pristine. So maybe this was inside the TV? But either way, you do get to see this character's mask later on in the game, believe it or not. If you look at the mask created by the doctor, look on the upper right hand corner. It's almost like I thought this was an unfinished mask, but when you pair it with this concept art, it makes sense. Another thing, if you look through the concept art, is that the signal tower was actually supposed to be a much larger area. You can find that 6 was actually going to play an active role with Mono when she was distorted. As you can see here, you can see that Mono was actually guiding 6 by hand here, and there are a lot more concepts of what the player would have encountered during this section, including viewers who have been captured. But most importantly, in correlation to that previous image, I think that was going to be one of the creatures you would have encountered within the signal tower. It was going to be a much more expansive area where you would encounter all the people who were sucked into the area, and Mono would have to guide 6 out of the area in order to rescue her. And that brings us to the end of this video. If you found it informative, consider leaving a like, writing a comment below. It does help me out a lot. Also, if you want to go the extra mile, subscribing is a great way to stay up to date with all my content. And if you want to go the extra mile, consider joining. Till next time, everyone, thanks for joining me. Stay awesome, everyone.